What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Run It Up podcast. I'm your host, Najee Adams. I got my guy with me today. 2 weeks straight, we back in this shit. My son Jalal, how you doing, bro?
I'm chilling, bro.
We chilling. How your week been? I think we recorded on, what was that, Thursday? Wednesday?
Thursday?
Yeah, we recorded on Thursday, so it's been almost a week. How's your weekend? Doing any cool shit?
Well, I have a job unlike most people, so it is Wednesday, currently my weekend.
I feel that.
I had to work today though, so I'm a little sleepy.
Hey, I had to work today too. This is commitment. If bro had to work today, came home still thugging out the pod. That's yeah.
Took me a little nap, cook some dinner, and we here.
I feel that. Make sure you guys subscribe to Run It Up Podcast everywhere that podcasts are found. Leave a little 5-star rating and review. Tell your friends about it. You can find us on Twitter at Run It Up Pod. You can find me on Twitter at Najee Adams _ Jalal on Twitter at JSandy45. And Justice and Khalil's Twitters will be in the description as well. They cannot make it this week. Justice, I'm pretty sure, just has no interest in talking about football. So maybe we can get him on the basketball pod we're going to do next week. And Khalil was going to make it, but then he couldn't make it. So next week he will definitely be here. We might have a 4-man. Who knows? But yeah. Oh, yeah, that's tough. 4-man's kind of crazy.
That was
nuts. Yeah, 4-man's insane. But on the agenda for today, we're going to do a quick NBA contender or pretender, talk through our wild card recap. I think we both went 4-2. I think we pretty pretty much picked
the same teams to win.
Yeah. We missed on Chargers and we missed on
the Vikings Rams.
Yeah,
I owe the Rams a big apology because I called them frauds.
Yeah, we missed on those two. 4-2, not bad though. So we'll go over our recap and then we'll give our picks for the divisional round. So yeah, we should be in and out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Before we get into things, got to do our song of the week. Jalal, talk to me. What's your song of the week?
Nah, you go first. Oh, I went first last week.
You're right. You did go first last week. My song of the week. It's not even a new song, but I've been watching TikTok edits of basketball players recently because we might not have the app come this time next week. So trying to get my TikTok edits.
I think they just extended it 20 days.
Let's go. Yeah. I've been watching TikTok edits, and there's this Bones Highland edit set to Rod Wave, Angel with an Attitude, and it's hard as fuck. So that's my song of the week. Rod Wave, Angel with an Attitude. It'll be in the little description if you want to check it out if you haven't heard it already. What's yours, Joel?
My song is called One Too Many Times by Journey. That is a group of Jordan Ward and Joony. If you listen to either of them or have heard of them, I suggest go listening to their EP called Journey. There's about 5-6 songs on there. Came out in October. It's a nice little vibe. Like if you like calm music, I'd suggest listening to it.
I've never took a sip of water as soon as you stop talking. That's tough. I've never listened to it, but I'm always down to listen to new music. So yeah, I'll check it out. It'll be in a little description. And yeah, I guess we could get into things. So contender, pretender, y'all know how this works. We're gonna name a list. I think there's 8 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams.
There's 9 because you're biased. But
yeah, 9 teams. And we're gonna say if we really believe that they can contend for an NBA championship or not. Just to give a quick run through, I'm gonna say the teams, and you just let me know if they're contender, pretender, and then we'll backtrack and go through all of them. But yeah, so contender, pretender. What do you think about the Cavs?
Absolutely.
Knicks.
Yes.
Magic.
To be determined because I haven't seen them at full strength yet, but we'll get into it.
Bucs.
That's a tricky one. I put yes, but I'll explain why. I'll explain why.
Rockets.
Yes. Also to be determined.
Grizzlies.
Yes.
Mavericks.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Timberwolves.
Hell no.
And Lakers.
No.
Okay, beautiful. So going back to, we'll start from the top. Cavs. I think you had them as contenders, right?
If I didn't, I think you might smack me because they are 34-5. If I'm being
So I also had them as contenders. I think it's like super easy to say that they're not. just because like they're the Cavs, their best players, Donovan Mitchell. Like we've watched the Jazz dominate the regular season for 5 years and then never account to anything with the same player, just to watch Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert get bounced in the playoffs. But this Cavs team does feel different. I feel like Evan Mobley's made a real leap. Like he's legit been one of the best two-way bigs in the league this season. He's only averaging 19, 9, and 3 with a block, like a block and less than a steal a game. But like he has truly like just transcended and been like a real impact player for them. And like they run a 2 big lineup with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, which you might think like, damn, their spacing is trash. But like somehow they make it work. Like Kenny Atkinson gets it done.
I'll say it works because they move the ball so well. Like the ball doesn't really stick around. I think that was one issue they had. Like it was, hey, DG, go get us a bucket. Hey, Donovan, go get us a bucket.
Yeah.
And honestly, like when you have guys that can do a little bit of everything, you got to be able to be versatile on offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And they like right now they have the second best net rating in the NBA, the best offensive rating in the NBA, 20-2 at home. Which is fucking pretty nuts.
They've also never lost to a team under 500. They're 20-0 against teams
that's
under
crazy. That for me is like that's not what really makes me feel like they're a contender, but that's what makes me feel like they're one of like the best teams in the league for real, because like it's so easy to just lose a game in December versus the Jazz, but like the fact that they haven't and they continue to go out there nightly and belt to ass under 500 teams, like that, there's something to be said about that. And like Donovan Mitchell has like sacrificed this year. Like he is averaging the least points of his career since his sophomore year in 2018, the least amount of shot attempts since his rookie year. I think Kenny Atkinson is like firmly in the coach of the year race right now. And like he's getting contributions out of Max Strus, Ty Jerome, Georges Niang, like Karis LeVert's been really good for them off the bench. Like I just think the Cavs for me are real contenders. Between them, the Celtics, and the Knicks, the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be fire. But what do you think about the Cavs, bro?
I mean, you covered everything. I do want to mention Darius Garland taking a jump back to what he was 2 years ago. Last year, he had some weird situation where he lost like 15 pounds mid-season. Like he was sick and he lost mad weight, came back and just wasn't the same. Obviously, you lose 15 pounds, you're not the same person, same player, same athlete. But he's averaging about 21 points, 7 assists. That's what he was doing 2 years ago when people were considering them contenders, and then they flopped and failed. But Donovan Mitchell taking a back seat and them becoming more successful is something that I didn't see coming. I would think that it would be because either he's just not playing well or because Darius Garland kind of just taking more shots. But like you said, Evan Mobley's jump, whether you see it on the stat sheet or not, when you watch the games, you can tell that offensively he's taking a big leap. And Jared Allen, despite all the criticism he gets for being a non-spacer and not showing up in the playoffs, he's been really good this year. And when they played OKC, was that last week?
Dominated them boys. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
It's 2 weeks ago. I think they play again tonight or tomorrow. But he played really well. And Donovan Mitchell had probably his worst game of the season. He shot like 2 for 20.
Yeah.
Coco Jones is in the stands, so I think that's why. But yeah, the Cavs are legit. From what we've seen, there's nothing that could tell me otherwise.
I feel it. Next team on tab is the Knicks. I'll let you start this one off. Did you have them as contenders or pretenders?
I had them as contenders. Just what we already know: Jalen Brunson, Cat, one of the best duos in the league. They have the second best offensive rating in the league. Their defense is a little up and down, but they have good defensive pieces. Like Mikal Bridges is a great defender. OG Anunoby's a great defender. Cat can be. I don't think he's a good defender as a center, but as a power forward, he's really good. Brunson is probably the weak spot there, but offensively, they are so high power that their defense doesn't even matter. Tom Thibodeau is a great coach, and Brunson's been up and down this season, but I think he'll catch his rhythm by the playoffs. Like a lot of these teams that we'll talk about, we'll talk about their ups and downs, but at the end of the day, as long as they're in the playoffs, which they will be, which is why we're talking about them, I feel like they handle business come playoff time.
I'm with you. For me, I put contenders for the Knicks. The only thing that stopped me from really feeling like they're one of like the top teams is like I feel like they don't have really like a signature win this year. I think they've struggled against good teams. They're 11-12 versus teams 500 and above, and 15-3 versus teams below 500. So like they're pretty middle of the pack when it comes to playing teams that actually like to play basketball. They're 13-7 at home and 13-8 on the road, but they're top 5 in net rating. I think they have a really good base. Like I really think Cat is playing some of the best basketball of his career. Like on a night in, literally like night in, night out basis, he is just been insanely good this year.
Yeah. He's playing such great basketball that a Knicks fan tried to start the conversation. I wasn't having it. I shut him down immediately. He tried to start the conversation that Cat is almost as good as Jokic. I said, bro, get out of my face.
Stop it.
I was like, he's having a great season. We're not even doing that.
No,
we're not even going down that road.
We're not doing that. This is a Jokic season. It's like he does like all time numbers yearly.
Like, literally, he'll come out average 27, 14, and 8, and then we're like, oh, he's the MVP. Then the next year he'll come out 28, 12, and 10, and we're like, oh shit, he can do more than he did last year.
Bro, I was doing like work for FanDuel today and like coming up with like graphics of like who's the MVP. And so I was looking at Jokic's stats. Bro, he's shooting 47% from three.
From three, yes.
Like, that's insane.
And he averages like 2.5 steals a game.
Yeah, bro. He averages 1.8 steals, which is a career high.
I guessed it. It feels like 2.5 because he don't be stealing nothing.
Damn near 2 a game. He's averaging 31. He's averaging 13 rebounds and 10 assists. He's averaging 9.9 assists. So he's basically averaging a triple-double on 47% shooting from three. And you might be like, well, he take 1 a game, 4.6 a game, which is the most of his career. Like that's knocking.
He's gotten better. He's gotten better. But I think last year we got off track, but it's okay. Last year, against the Timberwolves, it seemed like he got tired, and he used to take like 1, 2 threes a game. I remember that game 7. I think it was game 7. He took like 12. Like he couldn't even get into the paint. And I think he was like, okay, well, if I'm gonna get tired and can't get in the paint, I gotta knock these down more consistently.
So. Yeah, and he has like the like people think that when the off season ends, he just doesn't give a fuck. He just goes back to Serbia. He be working in the off season because he gets better consistently. But yeah, I mean, Jokic is the best player in the league right now. Like it's what it is.
No question.
No question at all. But back to the Knicks. Basically, I think they're a contender. I think their problem is I think they need one more piece, like one more bench piece. They are bottom 5 in bench scoring right now. And like I think especially with Tibbs playing his starters so much, like it just like the wear and tear just eventually adds up. And really all they have off the bench to get buckets is like Deuce McBride. And like he's been in and out the lineup. It's like I feel like they need one more guy to really come off the bench and give them some kind of firepower. But even as currently constructed, I think the Knicks are a top 3 team in the East. And if we got to June or whenever the finals are and you told me the Knicks are in the finals, I would be like, okay, yeah, I believe it. And so that leads us to our 3rd team in the East, the Orlando Magic. They are currently 4th in the East. I have them as pretenders. They are middle of the pack in net rating, bottom 3 in offensive rating. I think they're a piece away. I think like they've been a piece away for like the last 2 years. Obviously, they've been dealing with like injuries to Paolo, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, basically their 3 best players. And like the 3 of them have not really played much together. So the offensive rating is kind of skewed by that. But even in like those games originally that they were playing together, offense wasn't crazy. Like Paolo was having to score 50 a night. Like he was scoring 50 just for them to barely claw through games. And like, I think it's well documented on this podcast how high I am on Paolo. Like he's averaging 28, 8, and 5 on 51, 41, 68 splits, and he's only played 7 games. But like he's making a leap again in year 3. Like I think for me next season he could be the best player in the East. And like I understand Giannis is in the East. I understand Joel Embiid is in the East. I understand Tatum is in the East.
Hey, don't even mention Embiid. But yes, Giannis,
he doesn't play basketball.
Tatum. Yeah. Giannis and Tatum. Okay.
Giannis, Tatum, Paolo for me probably the big three in the East. Paolo was in Tyrese Halliburton conversations, and I think he's very much so out of those conversations now, so in a different tier of player.
Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Like, let's not act like Tyrese Halliburton is like completely trash.
He's not trash. He's not trash.
He's gotten better since the beginning of the season. He's been a lot better.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he went on Twitter and
they just busted Cavs ass, so you know they're doing all right.
Were they at home?
I don't know. I don't remember.
If they were at home, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. That's not to say Tyrese Halliburton's a bad player, right? Tyrese Halliburton's a top 20 player in the NBA, top 25 player in the NBA, whatever. I just think like that speaks more so to how I feel about Paolo, in that like there is a different, like there's a tier break between guys like Tyrese Halliburton and guys like Giannis, you know? And so
this, like, the conversation here is like, it's like you're high on Paolo. That's cool. I like him. He's really good, really talented. Went to Duke, for Christ's sake. The best player on Duke is a freshman.
You know, this is only year 3.
So would you put, like, you saying he's gonna be what, top 10 next year? If you're saying he's gonna be the best player in the East, he's got to be top 10 player. And who are you taking out of that top 10 to insert him? That's always the interesting
question. You're cooking. I think he can be top 10 next year. I think I take LeBron out of my top 10 next year. I think I take.
I think you can do that, bro.
Age 41 season, I think I can.
He's averaging 25, bro.
Like going into next year, I think I can safely, because right now he's on the edge. Like if I'm being for real, LeBron is like 9, 10. So I think going into next year, age 41, I could take him out. I think, listen, bro, Joel Embiid has to play basketball. Like,
okay.
Like
so we can be in agreement that I'd take Embiid out, like, automatically. It's getting like a Kawhi thing. Kawhi, we know who Kawhi is. We know what he does when he's healthy, but he's never healthy, and it's not like a if thing anymore. They're just not healthy players. He's pushing 30 at this point, and he's had this knee issue for like 3 years, bro.
Exactly. So, and like, yeah, and so I think Paolo can push his way in there. I also think, like, as crazy as it might be to say, like, I don't know that Steph's been a top 10 player this year. The Warriors have been pretty dog shit other than the beginning of the season. And like Steph hasn't been great. So like, I don't think it's crazy to say, I think out of that big three, KD's probably been the best this year. And like his team also isn't that good. So it's just a lot of like changing of the guard things going on. But yeah, I think the Magic are pretenders for me for now. I've said it before. I think they need a point guard that can score and facilitate. But how do you feel about it?
I'm kind of siding with you. I think we know what the Magic are. They haven't, outside of getting KCP, they haven't really made changes from last season. And their offense was absolute dog shit last season. They were the worst shooting team last season. That's why they got KCP. But I think getting Paolo and Paolo taking the lead, like you said, will help them. But ultimately, like when you play the Celtics, the Bucs, the Cavs, the Knicks, can you beat those teams? Your defense is amazing. Those teams' defenses are also pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather have a team where your defense might be top 15 and your offense is top 5 than have a team where your defense is top 2 and your offense is bottom 5. Like it's too lopsided and it's too inconsistent for me to trust them. I put to be determined, but I guess I'll say no now that we're talking about it. But I do think they need a point, like a real point guard.
Yeah. It can't be a Cole Anthony.
It can't be a Cole Anthony, and no disrespect, it can't be Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs to me has never been a point guard. But if they could get a nice facilitator who can shoot and defend, they'll be perfectly fine. And honestly, nobody's saying this. They also need a real big man. They hate
Wendell Carter and Goga, but Tot say.
Yeah, like
that ain't
go get a real center.
Yeah. So I think they've got 3 out of the starting 5. They've got 3 great starters. They just need to figure out point guard and center. And like they also hate Jonathan Isaac. You know, like I think you could play.
I think everybody does.
Yeah, you know, he's a tough guy
he's
to
a
like.
Sicko. Yeah, he's a wild boy.
Tough guy to like. But yeah, the Magic are on their way. I don't think anyone really expected them to be like some championship contender this year. So I think they're content being the 4 seed in the East and getting bounced in the first, second, whatever round.
They were what, 6 last year?
I think they were 6. Didn't they go 7 with the Cavs?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, they went 7 with the Cavs. Yeah, they went 7 with the Cavs. And Franz shit the bed too. Franz had like 0. He was like 1 for 19 or something.
Oh no,
crazy.
It was Franz. Yeah, Franz soiled his pants.
Yeah, he played horribly. And that brings us to a team that had massive expectations coming into the year. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Did they?
I feel like any team with Giannis and Dame, you expect to win the chip. You know, like any season.
We saw what that was last year.
They believe, though. You know, they got Doc Rivers in the building now. A full off season of Doc Rivers.
Who have you heard say that? No one has ever said that sentence in like 10 years since the Lob City Clippers days. Nobody trusts Doc Rivers, bro.
Yeah. So you feel like pretender is where you land on the Bucks?
So I put yes. In parentheses, I put ... And the reason I put that is because in the East, they can make things interesting. Mm-hmm. Dame has had a much better season this year than he did last year. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think him and Giannis are the top scoring duo in the league. And Giannis is Giannis.
Take your word for it.
Yeah, Giannis is Giannis. He's the best two-way player in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And I mean, outside of the Celtics, who I think is a terrible matchup for the Bucs, has been for a few years now. Mm-hmm. I think Giannis and Dame can give any of these other teams problems. Maybe the Cavs, because Evan Mobley is a demon on defense. But if they match up with the Knicks, I think they could give the Knicks some issues. They match up with the Magic, they'd smoke them. Because they can't keep up offensively, and I don't think they have anyone that can slow Giannis down. You literally, if that's your situation, you have to pray that Dame is just throwing up bricks and building houses for his community, you know?
Yeah. Being a good family man.
Yeah. Being a good Samaritan.
Yeah. For me,
I don't have much on the Bucs. I think we can agree that they're mid.
Mm-hmm.
I have every statistical category. They are in middle of the pack and everything.
I have them as contenders just because I feel like kind of what I said with the Knicks. Like if we got to May and I told you the Bucs are in the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Celtics, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I would be like, okay,
Do you think they are championship contenders or just contenders to compete in the East? Because I think they're just good enough to make things interesting in the East. I don't think they could win a championship. I don't even think they could get to the finals. Granted, come May, if Giannis is in the conference finals,
that's what I'm saying. You know, like that's why I feel like I have to have them as contenders because they have one of the 3 best basketball players on the planet. Where it's like, if they got to the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Celtics and Giannis just took over the series, like, shit, I would like, okay, like you in the finals now, and it's like we just saw him have 50 in a closeout game 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it's like, okay, I
almost 4.
Almost 4 years ago.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute for the Bucs. But so I believe for them, like solely on the fact that they have Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I think right now we've been talking about best player in the East. Giannis is the best player in the East. And like for what it's worth, they did win the NBA Cup. So I don't know if that
Doc Rivers came out and was like, well, we gotta win, we win. Shut up, man.
It's like if you put something in front of us.
Yeah, if you put something in front of us, we're gonna take it. Yeah,
all right, we'll see. But for me, the only thing that makes you feel like they're not contenders, I'm gonna say they are, but the thing that kind of pulls me away from that is that they're 0-8 against the Cavs, Knicks, and Celtics. And so, like, if those are the big 4 in the East, and you have lost every game to every one of them, then how can I believe that the playoffs are going to hit and you're just going to turn it on? The only reason that I could think that is Giannis.
Right. You know who they sound like? The Packers of the NBA.
Literally, like good enough to beat
a Wisconsin thing. Good enough to beat up on shit and poop your pants against the good ones.
And so I got to see the Bucs beat a good team. They're 11-10 versus 500 teams and above, like teams over 500. But we both landed on contender there, and then that moves us to the West. The Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets. I have them as pretenders. I will say, Ime Udoka. He's a good coach, man. He's a good fucking coach. The Rockets were 41-41 last season. They're 26-12 right now. I think Jalen Green is in the middle of like a bit of a leap. He just had 40 on 70% shooting the other night, and like that's unheard of in the career of Jalen Green. I think part of that is that like I think Ime has made it clear that like he has a very short leash on Jalen Green. Like if Jalen Green don't got it, he's playing 20 minutes and there's no problem. And it's not like you're forcing Jalen Green to play 38 minutes a night, but like when he does have it, he has no problem being like, all right, go crazy. Like shoot, heat check, do what you want. But if we get to the second quarter and Jalen Green is 2 for 9, you're playing 6 minutes in the second half, buddy. And I think that's good for the Rockets. Right now, they are missing Jabari Smith, but like they've been a top 3 defense in the NBA. Sengun is obviously a force. Dylan Brooks has been good for them this year. He's shooting 37% from 3. And there's like diamond in the rough is Amen Thompson. Like he's legit already one of the best point of attack defenders in the NBA. Offensively, his game is still very raw. Like outside of the paint, pretty useless. But like inside the paint, he's shooting 74% at the rim, which is 87th percentile. And he's one of the best shot blocking wings in the NBA. He just had his second 5 block game of the season the other day. And like, this is
That's
what
nuts.
Crazy. Year 2 for him. And like, he was already raw coming in, but like the athlete that he is just allows him to be a force on the defensive end. So like, if he can develop offensively, they have a little tandem on their hands right there. But for me, the Rockets are still pretenders because I think they're a couple pieces away.
I didn't put anything, but I have a question. Do you remember me preaching up the Rockets all offseason? I was telling you, if there's a team that's not in the playoffs right now, it would be the Rockets that would make the playoffs. I didn't think they'd be this good, but I thought they'd be messing around the play-in, like 7-8 seed. And then but I mean, I didn't see this coming. They are fantastic defensively. I don't think anybody saw this coming.
No.
Second seed is crazy.
Second seed for the Rockets is crazy.
For the Rockets is nuts.
In the West, where it's loaded, you playing good teams damn near every night.
Jokic and Shea every night, every other night. Yeah. But like you said, like they one of the best defensive teams, and their offense is good enough. Like they have Sengun, they have Jalen Green, who's a volume emphasis on volume scorer.
Microwave.
When he's on, he's hot. When he's not at all.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks has been, and Fred VanVleet have been good veteran presence for the locker room. You know, they got a lot of young guys, so having those two there to kind of settle things down and having a coach that knows what he wants out of his players and knowing what the message is going into every game. You got to be able to play some type of defense if you're going to play for Ime Udoka. Like, and I think that's why Jalen Green's leash is so short, because if he doesn't have that offense, he's not really offering anything defensively, and he kind of just uses athleticism, and that doesn't really work on defense. They're also missing Torrey Eason, who's a nice little wing. Like, I like his game, and he's great on defense, great athlete, and I think for such a young team, like they play really well together and really smart basketball. I think that's part of having great coaching.
Yeah.
I need to see if they try to make a move around the trade deadline to bring somebody in that maybe I don't know if they would trade Jalen Green right now because he's been playing well lately. But I would see if they try to get a bigger star that can be an efficient volume scorer that can get them out of their offensive ruts that they get into sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Cam Whitmore definitely wants out. Like, I think that he doesn't get the playing time that he would want, and so I think he could be a good little trade.
Did you see from the other night? He was like,
he was pissed. Yeah,
he bumped. I forgot who it was.
Jalen Green. He bumped Jalen Green. Yeah,
and they put him in the game, and he got the ball, took 2 dribbles, and just passed it and walked to the corner.
Yeah.
I was like,
he wants out of there. So I can see them moving him for a new piece that they could use. For me, I think the Rockets are just a big vibes team, and like you don't want to bring in someone that's going to ruin that. Like the Jimmy Butler stuff never made sense to me because like I think they are going off vibes, and like Jimmy can ruin a little. He can make a locker room too, but he can ruin a locker room. So like, I don't necessarily know that that's what you need for right now. And so yeah, for us, the Rockets are pretenders. Moving on to the next team, the Grizzlies. I was so torn on them because like I think Taylor Jenkins is a really underrated head coach. Right now, they're the 3 seed, and basically in every full season that Bane, Ja, and Jaren Jackson Jr. have played together, they've been good. Like they have been a top 3 seed for the majority of the time that they've played together. Last year, they obviously had injuries. The year before that, they were what? I think they were the 2 seed at the end of the year. They ended up getting bounced by us in the playoffs, but like for the majority of their time together, they've been good. I just think injuries kind of like derail their season. I think they're not necessarily ready yet, though. I have them as pretenders. Like I can't realistically say, like I can imagine them winning a chip at the end of the year. Like and like season comes around, can I envision John Morant holding the NBA title? I can't. And so like I personally say that they're pretenders. They are a good team though. Like they have the 4th best net rating, top 5 on offense, number 1 in pace. Like they have a bunch of athletes and they use them. Jaren Jackson Jr. has bounced back offensively. I think he's just better in games that Ja plays. Like when Ja is playing, they don't run that many pick and rolls anymore. Like they're really just a vibes offense. Like they just get after it, ISO basketball, whatever they need to do, run up and down the court, get after it in transition. And yeah, he's still a force on defense. Like teams are scoring 5.5 points less per possession with him on the court, which is just like crazy numbers. But for me, still, I just don't think that they're ready yet. Like I think that they haven't won a playoff series as they are. I don't think because they
did.
Who they beat that the year before that they won a series, right? They beat the Wolves.
They beat the Timberwolves.
Yeah, they beat the Wolves.
The Lakers after that.
They got that ass bus. Nah, they played us in the first round that next year. I don't know who they lost to.
They lost to the Warriors. They lost to the Warriors. That was the year the Warriors won the chip.
Yes, they lost to the Warriors, and then they played us that next year, lost to us, and then they got super injured last year, and now they're back this year. So, we'll see what happens this year. But for me, they're pretenders. How you feel about them though?
I put yes, but it's kind of the same caveat as I had for the Bucs. Like the formula is pretty simple. When John Morant is healthy, they are a great basketball team. But I don't think they can win a championship. I just think they make things interesting in the West. They've got like Desmond Bane can get hot any night. Ja is a dynamic athlete who can drop 27. Jaren Jackson is, if Wemby did not exist, he'd be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
And they've got complementary pieces that people don't really know about, like Scottie Pippen Jr. and Luke Kennard and
Jay Huff,
and I mean, we know Brandon. If you know ball, you know Brandon Clark.
Don't they have like Santi
Aldama? Yeah, like all these guys, but they fit really
Zach
well.
Edey, like they just got.
Oh right, Zach Edey. I don't think Zach Edey's that good, but he's just big.
He's the tallest player in the NBA. He's massive.
He's taller than Wemby.
I think he's 7'4". I think Wemby's 7'3" or 7'2". Yeah, something like that.
I thought they were the same height. But I'm not gonna spend too long on them. I think when Ja's playing, they're an excellent team. I think they can get to the conference finals. Like that is their ceiling. I don't see them in an NBA finals. It's not the same thing with the Bucs where I'm like, well, they got Giannis. Ja's great, but he's not Giannis.
No.
And the West is loaded. Like if you make the Western Conference Finals, you're most likely playing OKC, Denver, or no, I guess not Houston.
You can't say Houston, yeah. You know, it's OKC or Denver.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those two.
Dallas, maybe. You know,
Dallas, yes. Yeah. Dallas, if they're healthy.
Yeah, so that honestly great segue because the next team is the Mavericks. And I know you said you had them as contenders. So talk to me. How do you feel about the Mavs this year?
They've been dealing with so much injuries. It's kind of just, I think it's tough for them to rekindle that magic that they had at the end of last season when they brought in Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington and Kyrie was hooping and Luka was hooping. Luka's had one of the worst seasons offensively of his career so far. And he's currently injured right now after being injured about a month ago or maybe 2 weeks ago. He came back, played a few games and got injured again. Kyrie just came back last night. They've been dealing with so many injuries. and it's been Klay Thompson went there to potentially win a championship, and they got him doing ISO dribbles. I'm like, this is bad.
Spencer Dinwiddie and Quinn Grimes.
Spencer Dinwiddie, right? It's and Jaden Hardy.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think if healthy, I think they fair enough. The team that went to the finals last year that beat the Timberwolves, who beat the Nuggets, and they match up pretty well with most teams. I think it's not too far-fetched to say if Luka got his shit together and Kyrie is who he's supposed to be, which sometimes he's not, but they have enough talent to where their offense is good enough, and their defensively they made jumps last year, leaps, improvements where if they match up with the Nuggets, I think they could beat the Nuggets if they played them in a second round series to get to the conference finals. I don't think they can beat OK. I don't think anybody's beating OKC.
I don't
fully healthy OKC is great. We haven't even seen them fully healthy.
And they still have the best point differential in the league without their second best player. I just think that they are a fucking unit of a team. I'd
be remiss to say that their bench, you could say they could make a move to make their bench a little bit better.
Absolutely. They still have the assets. They can get better. We haven't seen they were talking about them trading for Cam Johnson. It's oh, Jesus Christ.
They traded for Cam Johnson. It's reps.
That's what I'm saying. And Alex Caruso has barely played. They have the opportunity to let Chet don't gotta play until the last week of the regular season for real. They have they're gonna be the 1 seed. There's no need to rush him back. They're gonna play the 8 seed, whoever that may be. And I think Chet will come back because they need to get their rhythm going and they need to get the chemistry flowing. But they're a unit, bro. They are so nice. For me, I have the Mavs as pretenders, which is kind of crazy because they just made the West. They just made the finals, not even West Coast. They just made the finals last year, and it's pretty much the same team plus Klay Thompson. They're just missing Derrick Jones. There was their big offseason loss was Derrick Jones. But I don't know, bro. I felt like the Mavs were frauds last year, and they made it anyway. And I think it was largely because of Luka, and they were just super athletic with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford, and Derrick Jones was making leaps, and Kyrie was good, and it was just a lot that went their way. They also had to play. What was their? I don't remember what their run to the finals was.
I remember they played OKC in the second round. I don't remember who they played in the first round. And then they had to play the
Wolves.
The Wolves in the conference finals. I don't remember who they played first. Oh, Clippers.
Yeah.
Clippers first round without Kawhi. It was James Harden and PG, just all bods and ISOs. And I think they went 6.
I think they went 6, yeah. And so for me, I wouldn't be shocked if Luka just came back on a tear and just carried them to the Western Conference Finals, but I just don't think it's happening this year. I just don't think they're better than I think they can be better than the Rockets. I think there's a world where they are a top 2 seed, the second best team.
I think they can be the second best team in the
I think I don't believe in the Rockets that much, but so I think there's a world where they're the second best team in the West. But for me, they're still just pretenders. And then the last two, the Timberwolves, I have the Timberwolves as pretenders. I think they got fleeced in the Knicks trade, trading your franchise cornerstone.
The guy you drafted number 1 overall in his draft, and he's been nothing but consistent every year. 20 and 10.
You out the mud.
What are we doing?
And granted, they
were
Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, and it's cool. Maybe you thought you could replace Cat's production with Naz Reid, but Cat for me is the greatest shooting big man of all time. He's already an outlier. So to think you're gonna replace a guy that is the best all time at what he does at his position with Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and upgraded Naz Reid minutes, I think it's fucking crazy.
I don't know why they had so much faith in Naz Reid.
You just made the Western Conference Finals.
No, it's not even that. You made the Western Conference. You beat the best player in basketball. You shut him down. They made him work for every bucket he got. I think he really only bust their ass in like 2 games, and they went 7. Like he was out there huffing and puffing at the end of every game, bro, because he's running into Gobert. Then they switch. Now it's Cat. Now it's Nas Reed. Like that type of size, you need that in the West, especially if you run into the Lakers and you got to play AD. Like you need the size. What is Nas Reed gonna do?
Understand the thought process for them. Like the Knicks came a calling and they were like, "Yeah, let's get it, Julius Randle."
Here's what I think. I think they put a little bit too much faith in Ant taking another leap from last year. Mm-hmm. But now that you have this roster constructed where the spacing is so ass, now Ant is taking like 12 threes a game. He's not. That's not his game. I mean, he's been hitting them, but he's more productive when he's getting to the rim and getting to the line. And his buckets don't come him just tossing up jumpers all night. I mean, when he's hot, he'll hit them, but it's just not a great recipe for success.
He's been very like adamant that like their offense is just kind of weird. Like they don't know, they look like disorganized on offense. If it ain't an Ant pull up 3 or an Ant step back 3, like I don't know, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like you want a Jalen McDaniels.
He can't create the same way he did last year. The spacing was damn near immaculate. Like you could take Gobert off the floor and have Cat and Nas Reed with Mike Conley and Ant and I guess Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, like whoever. Now it's like shit. We can't take Gobert off the floor. We can't put Julius Randle at 5. Like that's nuts. And he's not even really spacing the floor. If he's not hitting, then the spacing is really trash.
Exactly. So I don't know.
They don't move the ball. Like we talked about the Cavs with their 2 big lineup. They don't move the ball at all. They stand around and watch Ant dribble. Julius Randle gets the ball, dribble. It's the same thing, back and forth. And then their bench is good enough. Their bench is still really good where they are able to keep them in games. But then the starting lineup comes back in, and it's like, Ant, save us. Yeah, nah. That's a lot to put on a, 23, 24-year-old?
Yeah.
Who had a great season. But, I mean, it's
just a lot. I think they overestimated their time. Like I think they thought they were closer than they were, or he was closer than he was to being whoever he will.
Who they want him to be.
Yeah. And the last team, which is just a throw in by me, the Los Angeles Lakers. I think
we get this over with. Just get this over with.
Yeah, I think I think we are. I'm not. I think we are pretenders. I think that. Like, if you look on Lakers Twitter, everyone is like clamoring for like Walker Kessler and like Zach LaVine and Nick Richards, who just got traded to the Suns. And it's like,
oh, I missed that. That happened today.
Yeah, it happened like right before we started recording. Yeah, he got traded to the Suns. And like good pickup for them. I like Nick Richards. But it's like, or like Jonas Valanciunas, and it's like we are so far away from being a contender in the West that like. Jonas Valanciunas and Walker Kessler it's not doing it for us. People want to trade for Zach LaVine. That ain't making us a contender. Zach LaVine's good. He's having a damn good year, shooting like 43% from 3. Zach LaVine ain't making us a contender. And like our fan base is just delusional, bro. Like I tweeted out the other day, like, yo, if you think that we shouldn't trade Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect for De'Aaron Fox, you're out of your mind. And people were quote tweeting my tweet like, you're crazy. Do you know who Dalton Connect is? We're trading 2 two-way guards for De'Aaron Fox? Two-way guards?
Dalton Connect is not a two-way guard.
Austin Reeves is not a two-way guard. They're both cones. Like, what are we talking about?
I'm the fan of a fan base that does the exact same thing. We're going to trade Duncan Robinson and Jaime Hawkins. Yes. What are you talking about?
Like, that's De'Aaron Fox. That's a top 7-point guard in the NBA for Austin Reeves. He's a good contract. I like Austin Reeves. Like, we get so attached to these homegrown guys. Like, I remember we didn't want to trade THT for prime Kyle Lowry. And what is and like, it's Kyle Lowry. Cool. Kyle Lowry is better than THT will ever be. And look, and what did we end up with? Nothing. We didn't want to trade Max Christie for Kyrie. Max Christie has had a great year. I like Max Christie. I would rather have Kyrie. Like, we get attached to these homegrown guys. We are so far away from being a contender that it's ridiculous. We traded D'Lo for Dorian Finney-Smith. Cool. You know who you oh my god, you know who our ball handler is when LeBron and Austin eventually go to the bench? Gabe Vincent, who creates no offense. So like we have no primary ball handlers off the bench. Like our bench is garbage. Jared Vanderbilt doesn't play basketball anymore, even though he's on his way back. Like it's just a lot of fuckery. So I think we are very far away from being contenders, and I think this season's down the shitter, barring any crazy comebacks. But yeah, that's contender or pretender. I wanted to do one last exercise.
I'll say mine because you're just gonna skip me. Like I ain't even.
Oh, go for it! I didn't know you had thoughts on us. Please go for it.
I don't really. Y'all are pretenders, but I think y'all are fun to watch because you got LeBron and Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves has been hooping.
Participation trophies.
Yeah, like y'all are fun to watch. It's always entertaining, except for I don't know how y'all lost to Dallas last week. They literally had no one.
We have no dog. We have no heart. Like just no hustle.
Quentin Grimes looking like Reggie Miller out there. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I know you threw it on there because those are your boys. But
yeah, we don't even belong in these conversations. The last thing I want to do, which I feel like I'm gonna be honest, I think it'll be fire for TikTok. I'm a name a player.
You're trying to get me lines.
I'm gonna name a player, and I need you to tell me if at any point in their career they were ever the best player in the NBA. Okay.
Oh, I like this. Yes.
All right, bet. So for TikTok, I'm gonna name a player. You tell me if they were ever the best player in the NBA. Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Dwayne Wade.
Why would you do that to me? No.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, yes. For 1 year. Yes.
Okay. Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
Dirk Nowitzki.
That's tough. Because he played an era with Kobe and Tim Duncan going band for band. He did win an MVP in that era. Damn. But then they got smoked by the Warriors. No. And Kevin Garnett was there too. Yeah, I can't.
All right, Tim Duncan.
Yes.
T-Mac.
No.
Blake Griffin.
No.
Dwight Howard.
Best player in the NBA? No.
Russell Westbrook.
No.
James Harden.
No.
Kawhi Leonard.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Yes, for that little stretch after they won the chip, and we were like, he's the best player in the league.
All right. I got three more for you. Giannis.
Yes.
Chris Paul.
Best player in the league? No.
And lastly, Derrick Rose.
No.
Boom.
Even though, like, that's the thing is with a lot of these guys is they were, even like with Derrick Rose, one MVP, team had the best record in the league. He played in the same era as LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like, it's just tough. Like, same thing with I would say D Wade, his year would be like 2006 when they won the chip and he carried them.
That's why I didn't ask. Like, LeBron obviously has been the best player in the league. Yeah. Steph has obviously been the best player in the league before, so
yeah. KD was a good one because I felt like KD was the best player in the league in like 2014 when he won MVP.
Yeah, he had MVP, scoring titles.
Yeah, like I felt like he had a great year, but then he made an argument like every year, like even when we were like, oh my god, he's playing for the Warriors. Like, bro, he still looked like KD from KD. Yeah, like he's still looking like KD, bro. So, he was always in that conversation.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that was a fun little exercise. That's going to go crazy on TikTok. I promise you.
Don't cook me, please. Oh my god. I'm like, what? Dirk Nowitzki was like,
Russell Westbrook, Mr. Triple Double.
Yeah. I'm not trying to hear that shit, bro.
So that brings us to our little NFL wild card recap. Like I said before, we went 4-2. We can keep this little quick and nice. Texans, Chargers. My takeaways, probably the worst game of Justin Herbert's career. It's now, however, it is now his second playoff loss where they were favorites. He threw more interceptions this game than he threw the entire season. And this is a crazy stat, but out of the last 10 years, there's been 214 quarterback playoff performances. He was 213 in EPA per pass. The only one that was worse than him was 2015 Brian Hoyer in a game that the Texans lost 30-0. So, like,
was that the Chiefs game where they played the Chiefs?
Yes,
oh my goodness.
Yes. So it was just an overall dog shit game out of Justin Herbert. I think, like, at some point, like, he does have to elevate his team, and like people can say like the offense is trash, this is trash, but like he's in like top 5 quarterback conversations, top 10 quarterback conversations, and like usually those guys elevate their teams to some sort of playoff success. Like Josh Allen elevates his team, Lamar Jackson elevates his team, Mahomes elevates his team, Jaden Daniels elevates his team, and so it's like we've got to see you do that, even though the situation around you isn't perfect. Like, you got to beat the Jags, you got to beat the Texans struggling like, you just have to do it. And so I think that kind of criticism is fair, but being like, oh, Justin Herbert is trash, I think is kind of a crazy take.
The only messages I got in my text all weekend, well, during that game was, oh, Justin Herbert's trash. Yeah, we're done with Justin Herbert. I'm like, bro, he's still a top 10 quarterback. I never had him in my top 5 discussions because I felt like the Chargers, like, for you to be in top 5 discussions, your team has to be consistently good and you have to be productive enough. Like, you can't be getting carried. Like, I remember back when the Seahawks were doing great things, I struggled to put Russell Wilson in my top 5 because I'm like, their defense is obviously historically great. But we had this argument over the weekend, and I said, I don't even think the Chargers were planning on making the play, or they didn't expect to make the playoffs. I think they brought in John Harbaugh to set a culture, and I think they were a little bit ahead of schedule. Like, I look at outside of Ladd McConkey, your best receiver is a rookie. Quinn Johnston is garbage. I'm done with him. Your third receiver is Josh Palmer. I don't even know. You have a guy who's coming off of injury in J.K. Dobbins, and you have Gus Edwards. It's like all of these misfits and like replacement are guys that are trying to make comeback stories, or guys that are trying to prove something. Even on defense, like Khalil Mack had a great comeback year. Joey Bosa, who was great at the beginning of his career, kind of got derailed with injuries. Same thing with Derwin James. It's like I think they just wanted to be competitive, and John Harbaugh is a great coach. Jim. There we go.
Jim over there, John over there in Baltimore.
Yeah, right. Jim is a great coach. I think he's one of the only coaches to have taken each team he's coached in the NFL to the playoffs in their first year as a coach. When he was with San Francisco, that is crazy. And he's one of the only he would, if he won an NFL championship, he'd be one of the only coaches in football history to have an NCAA title and an NFL title. That's pretty hard to do.
Shout out Pete Carroll.
Right. Yeah. I don't remember who the other guy is, but he's from like the 70s. Yeah. Shout out to you, bro. But I just think the Chargers are a few pieces away. They need another receiver. I don't know what's going to happen with Khalil Mack. There's rumors about maybe he'll retire.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but he's like 33.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's crazy that we talking about Khalil Mack retirement. I remember when he was just...
Bro, Aaron Donald just retired. That was nuts. Once he retired, I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, this is a new era. Yeah.
Yeah, this is... as for the Texans, their defense was lights out. They got off to a slow start and looked like they were about to get body clapped. But then second quarter... I think CJ's scramble, I don't remember how many yards I think it was like 27, 28, whatever. That sparked something in the entire team. Like, they were like, oh yeah, CJ's locked in. And I text you, I was like, oh yeah, he's locked in.
That and the fumble recovery for like the 40-yard gain, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Those two, and I'm like, okay, they're locked in. Because they got one of the best corners in the league, Derek Stingley. Their pass rush is nuts. And DeMeco Ryans, he's cooking always.
Yeah, bro.
I just think that their defense was so pulled down by their offense being trash most of the season. that they didn't really. You get tired. You're on the field most of the game.
I think they are definitely suffering from the loss of Diggs and Tank Dell. Like I think that they're down to like John Mechie and Xavier Hutchinson.
More so Diggs though, right?
Yeah.
Even when they had Tank, like it was still like okay, like Tank is your slot guy, but Diggs was like if nothing's there,
the easy
catch
for 6 yards.
They don't have anybody that can do that.
No, and so it's like I think that they're definitely suffering there, but like I think they're on the right track. Like this is CJ's second year. He hit a little bit of a sophomore slump, but like Will Anderson's a monster of a defensive player. And like you think about it, like they traded for the second and third pick, took their quarterback, and I don't even want to say their best player on defense because Derek Stingley's an all-pro cornerback, but like their second best player on defense, and like they are set up for the next couple years. Like the Texans will be there in these conversations for the next 5, 6, 7 years.
They'll be winning their division. For the next 5 years.
They play in a dog shit division, so yes, they will. But
clip that and be like, remember when you said?
Yeah.
Because Anthony Richardson willed the team to a
Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, so I think we'll see what happens with the Texans moving forward. But just to double back on the Justin Herbert thing. So I wanted to figure out where you do have him ranked. So I'm gonna say a quarterback and stop me when I say a quarterback that's worse than Justin Herbert. So Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, CJ Stroud, Baker Mayfield.
Okay, wait. You going up and down though. Like I think CJ's better than Jared.
The top 4 is very up and down.
I think CJ's better than Jared. I also think Herbert's better than Jared. If you put Herbert on the Lions, whew.
Okay, so you think CJ's better than Jared, and you think CJ's better than?
I think Herbert's better than Jared too.
Right,
I would put him and CJ like in the same area.
Jordan Love?
No. We're gonna talk about that later.
Matt Stafford?
He's better than Stafford.
Jalen Hurts?
I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. I think Jalen Hurts is a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's better than Hurts.
Dak Prescott?
Nah, he's not better than Dak.
That's a hot take. I also believe he's not better than Dak though. Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
You think he's better than Kyler?
Yeah.
And then that's really it for me. Wait, move your camera a little bit up so you got.
I think I knocked.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. So I feel like we got Jalen Hurts around. I mean, I feel like we got Justin Herbert in that like 8, 9.
He's around that same area that like Jalen Hurts and CJ Stroud is.
Yeah. And then I want to do the same thing, but with receiver wise, because like Ladd McConkey is one of the rookie breakouts this year. I don't think anyone really expected him to just be a 1,100-yard receiver in year one.
Yeah.
So
that speaks to how great that Georgia team was because they had Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey.
Yeah. And like Ladd had injury issues, but like they were still a fucking unit of a team. And so for me, how many wide receivers would you rather have over Ladd McConkey to start your franchise? So like obviously Jamar and Justin.
We're not doing Jamar, Justin, CD. We're not doing that.
Great. I'm cool. Get
and
them
I'm
out
Raw.
pack him up. Those 4 easy. Puka or Ladd?
Ooh, I'll take Puka.
Malik Neighbors or Ladd?
Neighbors.
Nico Collins or Ladd?
Nico's a dog. I love Nico.
Okay. BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. or Ladd?
BTJ.
AJ Brown or Ladd McConkey?
I feel like AJ Brown's been in offenses that has limited his ability. Like he's been in run-heavy offenses basically his entire career. He comes in as a rookie. He's playing with Derrick Henry. They're pounding the ball. Now he comes into Philly, and when they were passing the ball, he was dominant. But now they got Saquon, and they barely pass the ball. I take AJ just off talent, just off pure athleticism and talent. I'll take AJ.
Yeah. Drake London.
Ooh, give me Drake. I've seen things from him this year that I'm expecting to see.
Yeah. Garrett Wilson or Ladd?
Garrett Wilson.
JSN or Ladd?
JSN, easy.
Yeah, that's what I know.
You know, yeah.
Marvin Harrison Jr. or Ladd? Hey, hey.
I gotta see more from Marv, man. I mean, I'm not a big Kyler fan anyway. I don't think he can see anything past 15, 20 yards down the field if he can't get out the pocket. But I mean, I think Marvin Harrison is an amazing player. He just in a tough situation. They'd be running gadget plays for Greg Dortch.
Yeah.
And he's sitting over there running bullshit routes. Just to start any team, I would take Marv.
All right. T. Higgins or Ladd?
T.
Devonta Smith or Ladd?
Ooh, that's a good one. Devonta.
Yeah. DK Metcalf or Ladd?
I think I would take Ladd over DK, bro.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think DK had a down year, so I think that's a fair take.
It's not even off the down year. I just think he's a little overrated.
Okay, that's fair. George Pickens or Ladd?
Ladd.
Chris Olave or Ladd?
Ladd.
Jalen Waddle or Ladd?
Ladd.
And lastly, Brandon Ayuk or Ladd McConkey?
I'm giving that an incomplete. Brandon Ayuk, he was hooping last year. He was trash, and then he gets paid, and then he gets hurt.
I think we align on most of them. I think I would still probably take DK over Ladd, but obviously I'm a Seahawks fan, so I'm biased. I think I might take Ladd over George Pickens. I think you said that too, right? You said Ladd over Pickens. I think
the last one I said I wouldn't take him over was
Devonta Smith.
Devonta Smith. That man won a Heisman, bro.
Yeah. I'm taking him over. I'm taking all of them over him anyway. That brings us to Ravens Steelers. I think we can keep this one quick. I think Russ is a pumpkin. I'm very I mean
oh my god,
man. I think it's very it's either moonball or sack. There's not much there anymore. I think Fields should have been the starter. I think Fields will be the starter. The Steelers are in that weird team purgatory, good enough to get the 18th pick and not good enough to win anything. And that's the worst place you could be in the NFL. I think the Seahawks are there. I think the Packers are there. I think it's very hard to get out of that. So I think we'll see. Mike Tomlin obviously has never had a losing season, which is a crazy accomplishment. But I also don't know that he can get them where they need to go. So I think they have a lot of decisions to make this offseason, but I don't realistically think anyone outside of Pittsburgh thought the Steelers would win this game. So did you have any takeaways?
I actually think the Steelers situation is worse than you're leading on. Who's to say they actually bring back Justin Fields next year? They could try to find another bridge quarterback. And like you said, I think they're stuck in this middle purgatory where they need another receiver. They need a reliable running back. They need talent. They don't have talent on offense. Their defense is fantastic. We know that. It's always been that way.
I think it was the highest paid defense in the league. And but even
you got Minkah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt. Of course it's gonna be great.
Cam Hayward. Joey Porter, who is still on his rookie deal, but he's all right. Yeah.
You don't have you got George Pickens, cool. George Pickens crash out in the middle of games.
That's all they got. They drafted Roman Wilson and barely played him.
He doesn't play.
He doesn't play Calvin Austin and Van Jefferson and Pat Freiermuth.
Yeah, they didn't give Najee Harris his fifth-year option. He's not coming back. Jaylen Warren is cool, but he's not a.
I think he's also a free agent, so they'll sign him.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could sign him to a little cool deal.
I could also see them drafting somebody.
They got to draft somebody.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the Steelers. The Ravens, obviously a tank of a team. That moves us to Bills Broncos. I think similar.
Before you say something.
Yeah.
Last week, I said Bills by 20.
Hey, Khalil was like,
Khalil was like, Bills by 20 is crazy. And they won by, let me see. They won by 24. They won by 24. Yeah.
You cooked. Yeah, you cooked. I said that this would be closer than it probably was. I think similar to what you were saying about the Chargers, I think the Broncos definitely overachieved this year. I'm not entirely sure they found their QB, but I think they found their QB. I think Bo Nix does the easy stuff really well. I think finding your franchise QB is about finding a guy that can also do the hard stuff. And like Sean Payton was asking him to throw 2-yard outs and screens and let Marvin Mims cook. Outside of that moon ball to Troy Franklin, they didn't score again. So like I think that there's still a lot that needs to be seen on whether or not Bo Nix can really be a franchise guy that elevates the players around him. Granted, outside of Cortland Sutton, they didn't really have any receivers. Like I think they still need to figure out the run game. Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime. Like you got to find a guy. And if Javonte's not that guy, then cool. But like you got to find that guy.
Javonte is not that guy. He's just not the same guy that they drafted.
No,
his knee is torn apart.
Yeah, and I think Sean Payton did a good job for this year.
Their defense is insane.
Defense is great. PS2 was probably winning Defensive Player of the Year, which is kind of crazy, but I think he was the favorite when the odds closed.
Was he? Wasn't Myles Garrett?
I know on FanDuel when the odds closed, Pastor Tan was the favorite. So
that's crazy as a corner to win. I think he'd be the first one to win it since
Stephon Gilmore. Yeah.
I was gonna go further than that. I was gonna say Charles Woodson.
No, Stephon Gilmore won it like 3 years ago on the Pats, and then he fell off. But yeah, I don't think there's too much. Did you have anything to take away from this game other than the fact that you were right? Then the Bills busted ass.
Literally, what I said happened. What happened? I knew the Bills started off a little slow. They usually do. And then once shit start going. And they in Buffalo, they just don't stop.
That moves us to your boys, Eagles, Packers. What went wrong, brother? Talk to me. What went wrong? Tell me, please.
Can we come back to this, man? Save this for last, please, please.
Okay, that's fair. Commanders, Bucs. I think Jaden Daniels, special player, man. Just a special player. 10-yard throws, he was 9 of 10 with 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. He took 1 sack for 0 yards the whole game. And like, I think when you have mobile quarterbacks, like that's the difference you get. Like someone that can, like a sack for Jaden Daniels is a 2-yard loss. A sack for Sam Darnold is an 8-yard loss. You know, like a sack for Lamar Jackson is a 1-yard loss. A sack for Matt Stafford is a 9-yard loss. And like that difference there is like can be the difference between winning and losing a game. I think for Jaden Daniels, like nobody expected the Commanders to be anything this year. Like everyone was like, the Bears are walking. Caleb Williams is walking into the best situation ever. And like the Commanders had Dan Quinn, who nobody wanted to be their head coach. That was like the last guy because they missed out on Ben Johnson because he wanted to go back to the Lions. They missed out on Mike McDonald because he came to the Seahawks. That was like the big two. And then they were like, fuck it, Dan Quinn, let's do it. Cliff Kingsbury, who was failed at the Cardinals, he's on his way to a head coaching job. Probably not this year, next year.
Not this year, yeah.
Yeah, not this year, but probably next year. Terry McLaurin, who was like kind of like, okay, cool, Terry. Diami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, Zach Ertz, 2 prove-it running backs. And
Zach Ertz being productive in like was like 13th, 14th year is nuts. As a tight end, is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
If you would have told me Zach Ertz would have been produced, like I would have thought it was, I don't know, whoever their backup is. Who's the rookie they drafted? Ben Sinnott.
Yeah. Shout out to
I'd have thought it would have been him, but hey, shout out to Zach Ertz, man.
Yeah, so I just think like all things considered, like Jaden Daniels turned the Commanders franchise around. Like literally, they have been bad for a decade now, and
they haven't been the same since RG3 got hurt.
Yeah, like the NFC East is loaded. If the Giants figure it out, I don't know. They're really like the low hanging fruit there. But like than that,
well, I guess we can transition into this since we about to talk about Vikings Rams because I don't have much to say about Commanders Bucs. I didn't even watch the game because late night game. I had to work. Sorry. But I gotta give the Commanders their credit. I picked the Bucs to win. I did catch a few highlights. Jaden was hooping. Hey, Mike Evans did his thing. They said Marshawn Lattimore will lock him up. Yeah, not no more. It's a new day. Yeah. He don't got on that black and gold. It's a little different. But I guess I'll transition for you. Vikings Rams. I want to apologize to the Los Angeles Rams. And quick prayers and thoughts to those people out in Los Angeles who lost their homes and some of their family members and friends. But rest in piss to the Vikings. Oh my God. I have never been, bro. I was up at 11 a.m. at night and I had to wake up at 11 p.m. at night. I had to wake up at 3 a.m. to go to work. I was up at 11 p.m. cheesing ear to ear. I have never been. And earlier that night, I had to watch the Packers get their body blown off. I was excited. I was like, yeah, this is nice. I ain't got to watch the Vikings and the Lions cook. I mean, bro, what? Jeez, man.
I don't know, bro.
Shout out to the Rams. Their defensive plan was. Listen, I told you that last week or 2 weeks ago now, the Lions ran cover 0. Like I was watching Brett Coleman and he said it, and I went to go look it up. I was like, oh shit, they ran it like 30% of the time, and that's the same thing that Bill Belichick ran when Sam Darnold was on the Jets, and he was like, I'm seeing ghosts out there. For a defensive coordinator to go that far back and be like, all right, we got to figure out something with this guy because he's cooking. I mean, it's a testament to the dedication that guys put in and week out. But I mean, is the book out on Sam Darnold? Do you just blitz the living day? Because he was good against the blitz all year.
I don't know, bro. I think Sam Darnold he lost generational wealth in a matter of 9 days.
You think so? I think a desperate team can still like I
could see him being a 25 mil. He'll get 30 mil a year from somebody.
I could see the Giants not drafting a quarterback and being like, he go get Sam Darnold.
I think he'll get the Baker contract. Like whatever Baker got, he got like what 100, 120, something like that.
Not even Baker though.
I don't think so either.
See, here's the thing. I don't think this game is now Sam Darnold's now back to what he was 4 or 5 years ago. Sam Darnold had a great year.
He did. They only lost to 2 teams. They lost to the
Lions
and the Vikings. I mean, and the Lions and the Rams.
The Lions and the Rams. Yes.
they were 14-4, and all 4 of those losses came to 2 teams. Like that's crazy.
It's kind of sick when you win 13 games and you got to play a wild card game on the road. That's sick. But I mean, shout out to the Rams. Their game plan was beautiful. They ran the ball really well against the Vikings, who've had a great run defense all year. I think they're top 3 run defense all year. Passing wise, I mean, they use Tyler Higbee a lot. They use their running backs a lot. Cooper Kupp had 1 catch all night. I don't know what's going on with them and Cooper Kupp, but it just don't seem like he's the same guy they used to. I think he can still produce, but I just don't think they trust him the same way they used to. They love Puka. I think the Rams defense had 9 sacks. They had 6 sacks in the first half.
Yeah. Crazy. Insane. Nuts. Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, man, I've never been happier to watch a team lose, but I'd be lying if I said that I saw that coming. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, neither did. And I saw a lot of people like ragging on Kevin O'Connell. Like, I think if Kevin O'Connell got fired, like he would easily get a job in 2 days. Like
he'd be the Cowboys head coach tomorrow.
I think he's a great head coach. I just think like it's tough. Like he turned Sam Darnold into a guy who threw 4,000 yards and 30+ touchdowns. Like he did his job, you know. Like, granted, they didn't have any sort of playoff success, but like I think that they found something they could build on. And now they'll probably move on to JJ. We'll see what that ends up looking like. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect for the Vikings next year, because you could tell me they win 11 games again next year, or you could tell me they win 3, and I'd be like, okay, I believe either one. Like I don't really know where they go.
They got a few guys that are going to be free agents. Like Sam Darnold's going to be a free agent. Aaron Jones is going to be a free agent. Stephon Gilmore is going to be a free agent. I don't know. I think TJ Hawkinson's got a couple more years left, or 1 more year left. But I mean, if you're the Vikings, like, do you say his value is lower so we could resign him for maybe 2 years if JJ's not ready? And then
I think you got to know if JJ's ready or not by now, which is tough because I'm sure he hasn't been practicing. But like,
he's been hurt. It's not like he's been sitting.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough decision because like you could put you let Sam Darnold walk. And like, I think you have to weigh like, okay, do we really care? Like, realistically evaluating Sam Darnold, will you care if you let Sam Darnold walk? Like, is Sam Darnold a good enough QB that you're going to be like, oh shit, we let Sam Darnold walk? Like, I think if you let Sam Darnold walk and JJ turns out to be horrible, then it's like, I don't think people are going to rag on you because they're going to be like, okay, what was the alternative? Sam Darnold? So it's like, I think for me, I would probably let JJ play football. Like, I think I'd let him be our QB and let Sam Darnold walk. I don't know that I want to tie up $30 million a year for the next 4 years into Sam Darnold, but like,
well, I would say like they have a window right now.
They do.
You signed Justin Jefferson to a long-term contract, but you traded for TJ Hawkinson. Jordan Addison is on a rookie deal. He's a really good number 2. You signed Aaron Jones because you didn't have a reliable running back. You can probably find another one in the draft, or you can probably sign another one next season. Maybe you can bring him back, whatever the case may be.
Najee Harris.
Defense, no.
Minnesota Vikings.
The Vikings have the worst red zone offense in the league. Yeah, because Najee Harris can't get into the end zone. But I think there is a window here that they have to maximize, and especially with their division, like the Lions are here to stay, obviously, and the Packers are still on the up. To me, I feel like they're a few moves away from being maybe right under the Lions, but there's like you're competing with the best. This is now the best division in football by far.
Mm-hmm.
Every
I also think the Bears will be better. You know, I think
the Bears are going to get better. They're going to get better. Their defense is solid. They have weapons on offense, unless they're just about to be the Chargers of the NFC, what the Chargers have been for the last 4 or 5 years. I think you can make an argument for both. Like if JJ's bad and you let Sam walk, now it's like, damn, we gotta find another QB.
Yeah. So I don't know. I could if Sam was willing to take like a 2-year deal and you could let JJ sit for 2 years and do some Jordan Love action, then I'm down with it. But if Sam is walking into those negotiations like, give me 4 years, 35, I'm like, all right, bro, you could go walk then. But yeah, so I mean that brings us to last game standing.
Packers, you going first, brother. You going first.
I'll go first. Okay. For me, I didn't write down too much. I just put like I think the Packers just couldn't beat the teams they need to beat this season. Josh Jacobs is a force. Hopefully, you guys continue to lean into him next season, especially because I have him in Dynasty. You figure out what you got with Marshawn Lloyd because he barely played this year.
Didn't play at all. I think he played.
Yeah. AJ Dillon. I don't know if he's even a football player anymore. So we'll see.
He got hurt. He got hurt preseason, and they put him on IR. He was done.
So, like, is he going to be re-signed? Is he going somewhere else? I don't know.
Think so.
So we'll see what happens there. I do think, and I said this to you in text, like, I think you guys got to stop playing. My exact words were, you got to stop playing hot potato at wide receiver and get a real guy. I think you need a wide receiver 1. I know Devontae was like, I'll come back. I don't know if you want to get a 32-year-old Devontae.
Bring his ass back. Get over here,
Devontae said he'll come back. I know you guys want to see Higgins.
I think the Bengals are just gonna tag him. Honestly,
I think they should do everything in their power to keep him. But yeah, I think everybody wants T. Higgins. Like, and the Chargers are like, we want T. Higgins. The Pats, we want T. Higgins. Like, I think everybody wants T. Higgins. So we'll see. But I don't know. I think you guys need to find a wide receiver 1. I don't think Christian Watson is it. Jaden Reed ain't it. Romeo Dobbs ain't it. Like, those are all good complementary guys, but like, I don't think those guys can be the engine that you build your passing game off of.
Let's see. Where do I even start, bro? Okay, so I said last week the Packers will not win this game. Why? Because they will get off to a slow start. They will keep things interesting, but ultimately in the end, they will just fall flat. And if you watch the game, that is literally exactly what happened. Najee, I kid you not. When the ball was kicked off, my literal word, I will go get Destiny right now, bro. I said, you better not, as the ball's in the air, you better not fucking fumble. Before he even caught the ball, what did he do? Cracked
ball on the ground.
Ball on the ground. And then they have 30 yards to go. You let Jalen Hurts sit in the pocket for 7 seconds, which is nuts.
That screenshot is crazy.
If you let me sit in the pocket for 7 seconds, I'm gonna find somebody.
Yeah.
You can't, like, the secondary can't cover for 7 seconds and nobody get back there. I'll get to Jordan Love in a second, but I just think, like you said, this game is just the epitome of what they've been all season. I feel like last year, people were so hopeful on them. Like they came in off the big win against the Cowboys, which was great. They played amazing and they almost beat the 49ers. And everybody was expecting a leap. And instead, outside of the guys that they brought in and Tucker Kraft, shout out Tucker Kraft, everybody else regressed. Josh Jacobs had a great year. Tucker Kraft took a jump. And literally everybody else on offense, including Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, some of the pieces on the offensive line, all regret. Luke Musgrave didn't play all season, who they also drafted, who was a rookie last year. Defensively, I think they have something to work with. They need a corner because it sounds like Jair Alexander is halfway out the door. From what I've read, sounds like his relationship with the front office is pretty much cooked. Like he's, I don't really know more on that, but I mean, you got Xavier McKinney, you got Rashawn Gary, you got Kenny Clark, but you need more complementary pieces. Like we cannot have no pass rush.
Who's your crash out linebacker?
Oh, Edgerrin Cooper, that's my dog. Yeah.
Nah, the other crash out, the one that be hitting.
Oh, the actual crash out? Oh, Quay Walker. Yeah,
Quay Walker. Yeah.
He calmed down. He played well this season. He played well. Edgerrin Cooper, the rookie, great player. Evan Williams, another rookie. Javon Bullard, another rookie. Like, but they don't have this. Like, it's almost like you can't. Your secondary is as bad as your worst player. So, like, if your worst corner is ass, if he's on the field and he gets cooked, he might be the reason you lost. And giving up that touchdown to Dallas Goedert, I mean, Corey Ballantyne had a great season, but I mean, dog, he might be a $190. Dallas Goedert is like 240, bro.
Yeah.
But I like where the defense is going. They need a corner, they need a pass rusher. And then on offense, they need to figure out, and this is on not only Jordan Love, but Matt LaFleur, like, what is your identity on offense? Last year, it was run the ball, have some balance, run play action. It feels like this year they completely abandoned play action. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw them run a play action play. And I have a chart here. It's early down pass frequency all year from week 1 to week 18. The Packers are in dead last.
Y'all giving Josh Jacobs that pill, boy.
But that means you might have one of the most predictable offenses in football. And I mean, the number. Let me pull it up.
Who calls y'all's plays? LaFleur?
Yes. The top. I'll give you the top 3 teams, and you can see how this graph will go. Number 1 is the Bengals by far. They are smoking everyone. Number 2, the Vikings. Number 3, the Chiefs. Also in the top 5, the Cardinals, and then after that, Chargers. Who is that? The Jets, Commanders, Seahawks. Like, it's up and down, but these are pretty productive offenses outside of maybe passing wise, outside of maybe the I almost called them the Rockets, the Texans. I think like with Jordan Love now, he's officially a question mark. I don't
tough because he just paid him.
Right. I'm not giving up on him. I don't think he's ass. I don't think he's trash. He's just, there's things he has to clean up. He has to get healthy. That's the main thing. I think there's a lot of times where I just saw him throwing off his back foot, not following through on his throws, and then being like the worst play of the game I saw from him wasn't any interception he threw. It was throwing the ball up to Romeo Doubs in triple coverage. 1, that's a hospital ball. Now your man has a concussion and he's out of the game. 2, you had Josh Jacobs on a check down, and y'all were only down 6 at the time. I feel like that's been his issue his entire career. That's a greedy play. Like, he'll have a check down here or like a guy open here, but he wants to go for the home run ball because I think he's pressing. And maybe getting a number 1 receiver might help that out. Like, oh my God, I don't have guys that can consistently get open, so let me try and make a play. Hey, shout out to, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think him and Matt LaFleur need to get on the same page about what they want to do with the offense. And do you want to be a run-heavy offense and just be complimentary in the pass game? Or do you want to have more balance? I think their offense looks a lot better when they're more balanced. Josh Jacobs is great, but you don't want to run him into the ground. You just signed into a 4-year deal. I mean, I'm excited for the offseason regardless. We got We got a first round pick. Draft is in Green Bay. I feel like Brian Gutekunst is going to be very aggressive in free agency and sign someone in free agency, whether it's complimentary pass rushers or another corner or receiver or whatever. Like, he knows when we've got to improve, and so far he's done it. Last year he went out and got McKinney and Josh Jacobs, and they were amazing last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah.
I think you guys are still young. I think you'll be back. I think the NFC is like there is like all the gods play in the AFC. So like the NFC is like pretty wide open. Whereas like for the AFC, it's like you got Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow.
Yeah, I just think like, the AFC is like all the established quarterbacks, like all the Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrow, Lamar.
Yeah.
And then on the NFC, it's like all the up and coming, like question mark young. Yeah. And a lot of the teams that are drafting in the top 10 are NFC teams.
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of NFC, like the NFC is for the taking. So I feel like in these next couple of years, you guys can establish yourselves as like top dog in the NFC. But yeah, to end things out, we're going to go through our divisional picks. It's 4 games. Starting off, Texans, Chiefs. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that it is pretty impossible for the Texans to win this game. Like barring injury, I don't know how the Chiefs don't make it to the AFC chip game. Like Nick Wright the other day called the AFC Championship the Arrowhead Invitational, and like honestly, he's not wrong. Like the Texans franchise has never in its history made it past the divisional round. They're the only team in the NFL that never make a conference championship. I don't think that that's starting on Patrick Mahomes. These two teams have played each other the week before the Christmas game. The Chiefs won 27-19. CJ threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mahomes threw for 1, rushed for 1. It was like the first week they got Hollywood Brown back. And yeah, bro, we haven't seen the Chiefs play since Christmas for real. They've had 3 weeks to get healthy. Mahomes is 15-3 in the playoffs. Those 3 losses are to Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. I don't think that CJ Stroud is adding his name to the list. I'll be honest. And he's 8-0 in the wild card and divisional. Like literally every time he's made the playoffs, they've at least gone to the AFC chip. So like
that is insane. Like I think people are so like, oh my God, bro. I think people are so stuck on wanting the Chiefs to lose. And I'm like, bro, at this age, this early, nobody's ever done this. And it's like, cool, like yeah, we tired of seeing the Chiefs win. I get it, but at the same time, like, bro, do you even realize what we're watching right now,
bro? If they win on Saturday, he'll be tied for second most all-time playoff wins.
What do you mean?
Yes, bro. Like
behind Brady.
By a QB. Yes, behind Brady. He'll be tied with Joe Montana. Joe Montana has 16. Brady is like 32 or some shit like that.
Wait,
and Mahomes
you're telling me Patrick Mahomes is number 3 right now.
Yes.
In QB wins in the playoffs.
I'm about to tell you. I'll tell you the number right now. Playoff QB. Well, I'm gonna just look up who has the most. Shout out StatMuse. Playoff QB wins. It is number 1. My shit loading. Hold on, give it a second. Number one is
obviously Brady.
Number 1 is Brady with 35. Number 2 is Joe Montana at 16. Number 3 is Patrick Mahomes at 15. And number 4 is like Peyton Manning, Steve Young, John Elway, all have 14. So Pat Mahomes could retire and he'd be third in QB wins.
Hey, where Aaron Rodgers at? I'm just curious.
Aaron Rodgers has 12. He's 11th.
Okay. That's not. I thought it'd be worse. But like, come on, man. Crazy, this is what every time we talk about the Chiefs, I'm like, I can't bring myself to be like, yeah, they're gonna beat the Chiefs. Like, do you not witness what this man has been doing since 2018? We on year 7?
Yeah, bro. He's never lost a playoff game that isn't like past the AFC chip. Like, well, he's only ever lost to the GOAT and Joe Burrow
one time. One time. You lost to Tom Brady twice. That's a flex.
Yeah,
yeah, none of y'all can beat me. Lamar, you can't beat me. Josh, we already know your body.
Yeah, like he's lost to literally the greatest football player ever and Joe Burrow once.
Joe Burrow, who had one of the hottest playoff runs
Like, come on, bro. So, like, you can't tell me CJ Stroud gonna walk in the Arrowhead and do it. Like, come on, it's not happening.
Obviously, from my reaction, I got the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I had the Chiefs in my Super Bowl. I just like since Hollywood's come back, their offenses look different.
Mm-hmm.
It looked a little scary. They've been using Xavier Worthy more consistently. They putting him in some freaky formations. And Hollywood Brown is the go-to guy in checkdowns if Kelsey's not there. So now that they got Hollywood integrated, they got Worthy integrated. Kelsey is Kelsey. I think Pacheco's going to have fresh legs by the time they play on Saturday. You still got guys that just come. You guys still got D-Hop. I forgot about D-Hop.
Bro, Kareem Hunt came off the
Kareem Hunt is the second string. And you got like complimentary guys like Justin Watson and who's their back? Noah Gray.
Yeah.
Like all these guys get involved. And it's like you don't even know who to cover and then Kelsey ends up wide open because you're like, oh my God, I gotta watch for Justin Watson.
And then when no one open, Mahomes scamper for 8 yards.
Right. And then if somebody goes down, Mecole Hardman, 80 yards. It's ridiculous. And we know what their defense is. Their defense has been solid all year. The secondary is a little iffy.
Yeah.
Their cornerback too is a weak spot, but their front seven is solid. Their safeties are solid. They force turnovers. They play together. It's been the same group for like the last 3 years, minus a couple players. Chris Jones is a demon. Yeah, man. Chiefs by like 15-ish.
Yeah, we got Chiefs. I mean, that game is come on. Next up is Commanders Lions. Who you got in this one?
I got the Lions. I want the Commanders to win, but honestly, like the Lions are a machine on offense, man. They're getting David Montgomery back. Jahmyr Gibbs might be the most dynamic running back in football, not named Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff has been playing at a very efficient level. I wouldn't say an MVP level because, to be honest, Ben Johnson be making that shit look easy.
Yeah, bro, when they did the play where they like Jahmyr Gibbs is like fake tripping and like Jared Goff fake fumble
against the Bears, they
playing around. They all bugging, like,
bro. They had Penei Sewell do an end around.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo,
Dan Skipper running routes. Yeah, I'm like, y'all flexing.
But I think like offensively, they're just such a juggernaut. I only think there may be 3 teams in this whole bracket that can stay with them offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Like you try to stop the run. Amon-Ra for a check down. They got Sam Laporta over there. Jameson Williams. Yeah. J-Mo, Tim Patrick. I'm sure there's somebody I'm forgetting. And then they throw in their backup tight end, Brock, to catch a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then they can put Gibbs out wide. Like, it's crazy. They have so much speed, but it's not like the Dolphin speed where everybody's just fast and skinny and weak and a bum.
Yeah.
Like, they got some dogs, bro. Like,
yeah.
And then defensively, I think Aaron Glenn has done a great job with all the injuries they've had. Obviously, they lost Aiden Hutchinson. They lost who's the linebacker that just got hurt? Alex Anzalone. Oh, he just came back.
Yeah, I think he just came back. Shout out to Florida Gator. Yeah, Alex Anzalone.
Yeah, right. Their secondary is a little iffy, but I think, like I said before, like they don't have anyone bad in their secondary. Terrion Arnold's a rookie, so obviously he's going to get targeted a lot, but they've got 2 elite safeties. And like I think they might have the best safety.
Joseph, yeah.
Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are one of the best safety combos in the league. Carlton Davis isn't bad. He's pretty physical. Terrion Arnold can make plays, and they do force turnovers. I think Jaden Daniels got a lot on his hands. Are they playing Saturday? Is that a Sunday?
I think they play Saturday. I know the Sunday night game is the Ravens.
We know what that is. Yeah. That's the big dog.
Yeah, that's the big dogs. The Bills, the Commanders and Lions play Saturday night. They're a Saturday night game.
Okay. Yeah, he's got a lot on his hands. And I think they're gonna try to take Terry completely out of the game. Mm-hmm. And if the Commanders can't run the ball, that game's gonna be over by the second quarter.
Yeah. So you got Lions?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, I got Lions too. I so badly want Jaden Daniels to walk into Detroit and end the Lions season, but like I think the Lions have a lot to play for. Like I think 1, they're rested. 2, they remember that NFC Championship game that they probably should have won last year. but ended up missing, not kicking field goals, going for it on 4, doing all that. I think they remember that. I also think like this is their window. Like after this year, Ben Johnson is gone. Aaron Glenn is gone. They're going to have 2 new coordinators next year because Aaron Glenn probably going to be the head coach of the Jets. Apparently, Ben Johnson want to go to the Raiders, whatever. They're not going to be there. So, like, it's going to look different. You know, like the offense is going to look different. The defense is going to look different. So, like, this is their window. I said this to you before we started recording, but I like last year, CJ Stroud, the rookie sensation, went crazy versus the Browns in the first round. And everyone was like, oh, my God. And then they went to the divisional, played Lamar, and got clapped.
Smoked.
I think this is kind of what we're going to see here. I don't want to see it. Like, I don't think the Commanders get blown out, but I think it's a decisive Lions win. Like, both teams are top 5 in points per game. The Lions give up the 3rd most passing yards in the NFL. Like, the Commanders were 30th in stopping the run, and like the Lions, I think, are going to run the shit out of the ball. Like
they always do. Like even they run so many plays. They run like 90 plays a game.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jameer is fresh. David Montgomery's back. Like I think, like they want to limit Jared Goff mistakes and keep Jaden Daniels off the field as much as possible. The fun thing is there might not be a single punt in the game. Like they have 2 struggling defenses versus 2 offenses that go for it on 4th down more than anyone in the NFL. The Commanders went for it 23 times, which was the 2nd most, and the Lions went for it 22, which was the 4th most. And the Commanders converted at an 82.1% clip. So like we might not see a single punt, and this is going to be an electric game, but I think the Lions end up winning this just because I don't think the Commanders are ready yet. Now, if they do win, shit, I mean, all cards are on the table at this point. Jaden Daniels having an insane rookie year. I just don't think that's happening. That brings us to Rams Eagles. Do you want to start this one, considering they just packed your team up? Who do you think is
sure?
Rams
Eagles? I got the Eagles. Rams, they had a nice game. I just don't see, like, if you blitz Jalen Hurts, he's gonna tear you apart. You cannot, whatever you did to Sam Darnold, you cannot do to Jalen Hurts, especially because they have Saquon, who they can put out there as a receiver. They bring in Gainwell to do some receiving work sometimes, but like they got Dallas Goedert back, who is outside of Saquon, to me, is the X factor in their offense. Like when he's not playing, if they don't get the ball to AJ Brown, they're cooked. Like most of the time. Now that they have Dallas Goedert and they got Devonta Smith healthy, AJ Brown out there, even though he's reading books on the sideline, being a diva. Like, come on, bro. I think they throw too much at LA to keep up. I don't think the Rams offense is still, I said this last week, their offense is not that good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough. The Eagles have the best defense in the league. It's tough to run the ball on them. It's tough to throw the ball. I think Puka's going to have 10 catches and maybe 50 yards. Like, they make sure that they keep everything in front of them. So everything for you is going to be a check down unless you got a speed demon streaking up the sideline. And I don't think they have the guys to beat the Eagles. I think the Eagles front is playing well. They lost Nakobe Dean for the year, which is tough. I think he tore his ACL the other night. But their front 7 gets after it. Their secondary forces turnovers. They had 2 great rookies in Cooper DeJean and
Quinyon Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell, thank you. Balling out. Like, they make plays. They cover well. They hit you. They move. They're fast. Like, they don't miss a beat. Vic Fangio got them playing like the 2015 Broncos. Bro. Like, They are unbelievable. And then on the other side of the ball, how are you going to stop Saquon? Saquon had a terrible game last week. I don't care that he had 94 yards. He had like 3.5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
He's due. And I think...
finish up. Go for it.
I think the Eagles are due for like a good offensive game. I think Jalen Hurts came out a little rusty. They're going to get AJ Brown the ball. Every time he bitches, he gets the ball the next week. It's literally a science.
Take the over on AJ Brown this week.
I'm taking the over on AJ Brown this week. I got the Eagles in a pretty convincing matchup. They probably won't make it look easy because the Eagles never make it easy for themselves, but ultimately they should win.
Yeah, I got the Eagles too. For me personally, I think Sean McVay is the best coach in the NFL. Matt Stafford. Yeah, I do. I think he's the best coach in the NFL. I think McVay's my best coach in the NFL.
You know it's Andy, man.
Reed?
Yeah. Reed, yes.
I mean, yeah, he's good, but like he has Mahomes in him.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
okay,
good. Oh my god.
no, like I think McVay's
Nobody
the
did that to
best.
Belichick. Oh, Belichick had Brady.
No,
Like
that's a
people
fair
gave
point.
Belichick his
That's a fair point. I think, but like I don't know. I think McVay, with what he has to work with, is like
I think he should be coach of the year.
I think it'll be Kevin O'Connell.
He would be my coach of the year, though. They
I
They
think
were
it'll be O'Connell because
1-5.
yeah, and they made, but I mean, they
And they
played in a
made the playoffs?
shitty division.
Who
But
cares?
like the Vikings were 14-3, 14-2, whatever. And
I guess nobody had the Vikings winning.
yeah, Sam Darnold is nice, but I have the Eagles winning. I think like I don't know, it's tough. Like these two teams also played in week 12. The Eagles won 37-20. Saquon had 26 carries for 256 yards and
nuts,
2
bro.
touchdowns. The Eagles didn't have Devonta Smith in that game. AJ Brown went for 109-1. In the time since then, though, the Rams defense has been way better. They've held 4 of their last 5 opponents to single-digit scoring. On just to break, like I just think the Eagles get after Stafford in a way that the Vikings couldn't. Like the Eagles have been the best defense in the league this year, and in games where Stafford was sacked 3 or more times, the Rams are 1-5. In games that like in the games where the Eagles have sacked the opposing quarterback 3 or more times, they're 6-0. One of those games was against the Rams where they sacked him 5 times in week 12. So like I think they have the formula. The Eagles are the better team. I think we get into this thing where it's like it's one game, winner take all. It's not fucking March Madness. Like these are like the best team usually wins these games, and the Eagles have been the better team all year. So yeah, I'm taking the Eagles. And the last game is for me. I think this could be some of the really the best football game we have seen.
Now these next 2 weeks,
time, bro.
Whoever wins this game got to go up against that boy.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's gonna be crazy too, bro.
I there's not even really any analysis for me here. Like I think these are the 2 best players in the league this year going against each other for the chance to take down the bigger boss in the AFC. Like and so like Derrick Henry, I said this last week. Derrick Henry went for 200 on them last time the Bills played the Ravens earlier this year. They were missing Teron Johnson, Terrell Bernard, and Matt Milano, though. So all 3 of those players should be back. At the end of the day, I just think Lamar Jackson this year has been the best football player on the planet. And that doesn't mean I think he's MVP. I think those can be 2 very different things. I think Josh Allen is my MVP. But I think Lamar Jackson has been the pound-for-pound best football player on the planet this year. I think the Ravens have the better defense. I think the Ravens have been the more consistent, like they have the more consistent pieces on offense and more reliable pieces on offense. So I go the Ravens. Like I can see a game where like Khalil Shakir just don't get it done for you. Dawson Knox just don't get it done for you. Like I think Mark Andrews, I believe he can give me some player performance. I don't know if Zay Flowers is going to play, but I know Derrick Henry has been to an AFC championship game before with the Titans, and like he is an experienced player, and I think they can do it. And the Chiefs, the Ravens just went to the AFC chip game last year. So like, I think that this team is just more equipped to beat the Bills, and it sucks for Josh Allen because I love me some Josh Allen, but this is just another year where like you just run into another god at QB and you just can't win. So I don't know, but I'm taking the Ravens and Lamar.
Damn, I'm like making my prediction right now, bro.
I'm
still going back and forth.
Oh,
like everything you said is true. Like the Ravens have the weapons. They got the guys that have proven to win. They've got Mark Andrews, and Zay Flowers was there last year. He's gotten way better. Derrick Henry is the big dog, big veteran who basically changed their whole offense. Like teams are reacting so much to Lamar that Derrick Henry is getting 5 yards a carry every time he touches the ball. It's insane. And then you got Isaiah Likely and Bateman and Nelson Aguilar makes plays. It's crazy. And even though the Ravens defense has played well since probably the middle of the season, they've been top half of the league.
It's like week 10, yeah.
Yeah. I still don't trust them for some reason. And for that reason, I'm picking the Bills, bro.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I like that.
I want to see Josh Allen and by the way, Lamar is my MVP. But I want to see if Josh Allen could beat Mahomes. Give him one more shot.
So
I don't think
your
it's the Bills.
your MVP is Lamar. You're picking the
My
Bills. My MVP
Lamar,
is
yeah.
Josh. I'm picking the Ravens. So we'll see.
I think the Bills' offense is so unpredictable in terms of who the ball is going to and what exactly they're trying to do. They run the ball really well. James Cook is really good. Josh Allen himself is a running back when he needs to be.
Yeah.
Khalil Shakir is very solid. They got two good tight ends. Amari Cooper might make an appearance. I completely forgot he was on the team
He runs
halfway through
routes
the
on
season.
air. So
Keon Coleman makes big plays down the field. I just think this is. I can't wait for this game, bro. This is gonna be such a great game.
Sunday night, it's in the right spot. It's gonna
And
be
I don't even care. I don't care who wins. It's gonna be a great game.
Yeah.
I wish both teams could win. I like Josh. I like Lamar. Part of me wants to see Lamar win a chip. Part of me wants to see Josh get his chip.
I want both of them to get
I'm
one.
torn, bro. But I'll go with the Bills because you picked the Ravens. I kind of want us to not have the same picks again like before.
Yeah.
But I think this could go either way. I think this is going to be one of the best games of this postseason, probably the last few years. And hopefully everybody stays healthy. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody has an excuse outside of, hey, we play like shit. Hey, we bust your ass. That's all I want to hear. That's all I want to hear. No nasty agendas, nothing like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll do it. This episode of the Run It Up podcast. The next time you hear from us,
2 hours.
I know. The next time you hear from us, we'll be talking Super Bowl. I mean, AFC Championship and NFC Championship picks. I think next week we want to do All-Star predictions. So make sure you guys tune in next week. Make sure you subscribe to Run It Up podcast on everywhere that podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter at Run It Up Pod. You can find me on Twitter at Najee Adams _. You can find Jalal on Twitter at JSandy45. Justice and Khalil's Twitters are also in the description, so make sure you go check them out as well. I hope you guys have a litty day, a litty night, a litty life. And just like we do on every episode of this podcast, make sure y'all go run it up.